Hello everybody, my name is Connor. Sometimes I go by NobleAsta, and I am here with another Katakuri game, baby. We go first. We get our pudding. I almost said Paraspero, wrong searcher. We get our pudding off turn 1, and we whiff. So I just go ahead and put them back like that, and pass turn. That's always rough. I feel like I think this is the updated build. No, this is my old build. I can tell because there's new gates on the side there. I do end up updating the build and adding new gates in a little bit later, but I feel like with this list that I run, I definitely do whiff a little more. So he gets his 2 Dawn, passes turn. I play out, I'm on Dawn 3, I play out Paraspero, and I swing 5 into him just to get a card out of his hand. I don't think he'll end up taking it. And he counters with the Sabo, so I'm happy to see that out of his hand, honestly. This is a leaner I haven't really played against. I'll put a picture of his abilities and stuff on board. And he goes ahead and plays the Basil, Hawkins, and Ramsodon. And then passes turn. He doesn't want to swing into me. You know, yellow doing yellow things with those triggers. So we're on our 5 Dawn turn, and I don't really want to do much here. So I go ahead, I poke with Paraspero, poke with the 5, see what he does. Because if he takes something, and I could play Kikinojo, or I might just play Kikinojo anyways. So I end up going to giving Katakuri banish with the Onami, and I swing 6, 7, 8, 9 into him, and I check my life. It's Gadatsu. I'm gonna leave it there. It's nice to have that counter. So we end up banishing the Robin, and I'm okay with that. I figured since he had countered out so much in the my prior turns, that banishing wouldn't be a bad idea. There's a chance that if I swung big, he wouldn't have enough blockers. So he didn't. He wasn't either chose not to counter out or didn't want to. Or that's the same thing. He chose not to counter out or couldn't. So he swings into life with his leader, and I take it, and I get the Gadatsu, and he plays Polly and KOs the Paraspero, and all my cards are upside down. But we do get to search off of this top 3 and Big Mom Pirates, and I don't whiff. I get a massive hit, and I take the Amande. I don't feel like I need pudding at this point in the game. I think I have the 7 drop. Yeah, I have the 7 drop, but I don't think I have 10 drop in my hand right now, but having 7 drop is pretty good, and I'm pretty low on counters, so I feel like Amande is the best play here. Yeah, no 10 drop. Oh, and then look at that, I top deck another one. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. He is at 3 life, so I could hard play the Kikinojo and apply that pressure. But I'm not really sure. And I end up tapping. Oh, I'm on my 7 Dawn turn. I tap 7, and I go Big Mom. He lets me gain a life, and I am content with that. And I just poke into his life. Counters out with the Hawkins and passes turn. This game was really, really fun. I know you guys are going to be shocked to hear that it was about a week ago. It was a really fun game to play. I've never played against this leader, as I mentioned. And I really like purple. Like, I'm probably going to be building like purple Luffy in the future here. Or I will be playing the ever-living hell out of Purple Yellow Croc while he's good. But he drops the 10 drop Kuzan and KOs Onami, and then swings with Zephyr into my life. And he's explaining something about his leader ability. Because of the 10 drop Kuzan, he gets to, I think, -4 Dawn and then kill something on my board. So he kills my Big Mom, which kind of stinks. But I get the Paraspero off a life, and I go ahead and trigger it out just to have a body on board. Just something I can swing into him with. And he swings with the Poly, and I'm trying to decide if I want to counter. And I give him the 2k. I do have another 2k. He passes turn, and I get another big mom. So part of me's like, I 7-drop mom again. Like, why not? But, because we are on our 9 Dawn turn here. And I'm counting my Dawn and showing off my Dawn. I'm counting my Dawn, trying to figure out what I want to do. Because I'm thinking I can poke in with Parasparrow and see what happens there. And then I think so he ends up taking the life, which I'm cool with. And this, so I dropped 7 mom here, and maybe I should have gone 5 or 6-6. 6 with Parasparrow and 6-7, and then 6 with Parasparrow, and then 7 with Katakuri ability. I think that's probably what I should have done, just so I had the opportunity to rearrange my life, or even, yeah, I feel like having the opportunity to rearrange my life would be nice. So I dropped the 7 mom basically to get the life, and I swing with Parasparrow in hopes that he will get rid of it, because if you don't get rid of Parasparrow, he's going to keep attacking, keep swinging, and his swings aren't big, but like, he's kind of a pain in the butt, you know? So I definitely noticed, like, in this matchup, I had a really hard time removing the Kuzans, the 10 drops. Like, it was just really hard for me to, like, get rid of Kuzan. Like, so he was constantly just minusing. Like, my big moms couldn't stay on board this game because it's just constantly, like, minusing him. So, it's a really interesting deck. I'm interested to see if the deck gets more viable in the future, because it is one of those leaders that I've looked at and been like, oh, that looks really fun. But I'm not very good at deck building, so just trying to see what people do with him. I am trying to build Zoro Sanji right now, or not Zoro Sanji, but Sanji with a lot of the Zoro Sanji cards, and it's cool. But he goes into Parasparrow, and I let him go. I'm like, let's get a search off. And we whiff. So there's another whiff. Which is always a pain. I hate whiffing on searches. That feels bad. I love when my opponents do it, though. So he swings 5 into me, and I take it. I get another 2k. So excellent. And he swings with the Kuzan, who I think is a 10 cost, or 10k. I get another Linlin. So I've seen 3 of my 4 Linlins this game, which is just kind of wild if you think about it. That is just a lot of Charlotte Linlin. So he taps his Dawn, and he ends up playing out another Poly. Taps 2, ramps the Dawn, and uses Poly 2 KO the Linlin because Kuzan makes her cheap. So we have a Linlin. We just got a pudding off of our deck, which, you know, as I mentioned, I don't feel like I need the pudding surge, but it is nice to have. So at this point, I'm thinking either we pudding for some more and look for like a 10 mom, or we drop the another 7 mom just to gain another life. We have a decent amount of counter in our hand. Where, you know, dropping Kikanojo wouldn't be bad. The fact that Kikanojo is a 6k makes her pretty hard to deal with. 9, so I'm gonna go 9, I think. Yeah, I go 9 into Poly, and there is a 10 mom on top of my life, so I leave her there. Yeah, so I'm going 9 into Poly just to try and clear a body, so 1 less swing that can hit me, because I haven't seen any of my, well, it wouldn't really matter if I've seen any of my Sanjis, because he can get rid of those pretty easy. So he decides to let Poly go, and I tap my 7, and there she is again, and he gives me another life. And yeah, I'm like, because he's like, how many, oh my god, like, you've seen all your 7 moms, and I'm like, yeah, I think, just about, yeah. So, you know, sometimes the cards love you, sometimes they don't. Most of the time with me, they don't. So he gets back to his 10 Dawn turn, and let's see here. I'm thinking he's probably gonna end up getting rid of my Lin Lin, which is a bummer. But we have a 10 mom incoming, so that's good. But I'm feeling at this point in the game, I'm feeling really solid. He's at 1 life, and I have been bouncing between 5 to 4. But he ends up playing. Oh God, what is his name? I run him in the law deck, and like I was like, oh, I'm gonna lose some bodies here. So I think here he's explaining the math, and we all know math is hard. So there's the lovely side of my face. Wow, I'm trying to figure out math here. So I'm thinking really hard. And so he ends up using that guy with the combination of, I'll put his picture on the screen. I think Kamazi, I think is his name. And the Kuzan to get rid of Lin Lin. It drops Lin Lin down to like a 2 cost, if I remember every card correctly. And so at this point, I'm struggling here. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. He didn't swing into life, which is unfortunate for me. And he's got his queen, and he's explaining like his plays and his deck. He really loves this deck, and it's a really cool deck. I looked through it after the game, and it was like, this looks like a lot of fun. Like, I get why he loves talking about it. So I'm thinking about there. I think I pull the 4 aside because I'm thinking about dropping Sanji, and then I'm like, no, there's no point with the Kuzan on the board. So this is a play that I felt weird about, but it ended up, if it's the play I think it is, it ended up doing really good for me. So I'm separating out my Dawn, and I don't feel comfortable playing anything I have in my hand, because he has that 10-drop Kuzan on board. So I feel super weird about this, but I swing 8k with Pudding. And I'm trying to get rid of that queen blocker because it is so, I'm I don't know how I get, with everything I have in my hand, he's got so much removal that it's going to go away. So how do I get out? So I swing 8k, and he ends up countering with 3 cards. And then I swing 9 with my leader, Katakuri, and that's when he gets rid of the queen. We peaked our life, and I'm pretty sure I saw it was a Sanji. So, yeah, at this point in the game, he swings Basil Hawkins into Pudding. I let her go. She's done more than enough. I honestly think she was the MVP of the game. So he swings 5, and I go ahead and I take it, and I trigger out the Sanji, and I end up trashing Sanji. Maybe I should have trashed Kikanojo. I'm holding on to her, trying to get her on board, but realistically, I should have trashed Kikanojo, or I should have just held on to it. So they play another 10-drop Kuzan, and they get rid of the Sanji I just triggered out. So that was something I should have considered. And then they swing a lot, and I get the Amaru, and I go ahead and I use it. And I fumble my cards because I'm just so excited. And we end up trashing, the Kikanojo because it doesn't have counter, and the Gadatsu because Gadatsu, I like Gadatsu in a lot of yellow decks, but I just don't feel like in this one he's very good. So we go ahead, we draw, we get our 1 Katakuri. And at this point in the game, I'm, pretty nervous. He's got a really big board. I do have my 10 mom, so there is that. But So I'm trying to decide, do I want to drop 10 Mom here? Is 10 Mom the play? And that's one of the things I think with Katakuri I really have some difficulties with, is like, of course when I get to 10 Dawn and when I have 10 Mom, I want to drop her. But there are some times where I think it might be better to like establish a board rather than dropping 10 Mom. There's another game I will be uploading where I play 10 Mom, and I think maybe I should have established a board instead. But here I'm going back and forth, and I go ahead and I play 10 Mom, and so he ends up trashing his zero cost event, which I think was pretty big. And I go into Kamozi. That guy, I can never remember his name. But I go into him. He counters out with the Miss Double Finger. And so he's got a pretty threatening board. But thankfully, for once in my life, as a Katakuri player, I have counter in my hand. So he's got 6 swings, potentially 6 swings. And so he swings the poly, and I take it, and I go ahead. I get the cracker, which I like, but ended up dropping. And I keep him in a hand for the counter. And I 2k and a 1k immediately counter out of that hit. So we have 3 life, I think. And a dream. So he swings big with the Hawkings, and I 2k 1k, and I know that I'm gonna take the Kuzan hits, so I counter out the other hits, and he ends up with the 2 Kuzans trashing Big Mom. But at this point, she's done her job. I go ahead and trigger out Sanji, and this was the trigger that saved me here, because he was gonna have lethal, but he had used his ability, so he ends up scooping because he was gonna have lethal, but he used his ability to get rid of Big Mom, and then that's when I got the Sanji for the Sanji trigger. So if he had held on to the trigger, or he held on to his ability, he would have been able to get rid of Sanji and then gone for lethal. But yeah, he was just saying right there that swinging 8k with Pudding was like really smart, and I felt pretty good about it because he is an extremely good player. He plays red green Luffy a lot and is a absolute fucking menace on it. And so it was cool to see him playing this deck, and it felt really good to have him be like, that was such a smart play. Like, I was like, oh my god, thank you. But yeah, it was a really fun game, and I love playing off. I love playing off meta. I know you guys are like, but he's on Katakuri. Look, I'm trying to win. I'm trying to be good, and I definitely feel like, as weird as it is, I feel like playing Katakuri has helped me improve in some of like the basics of the game. Because I was talking to some of the guys at locals, and they were mentioning that it is a fairly easy deck, and you can really focus on like not so much of what your deck needs to be doing, but what you need to be doing. And so yeah, that's why we're rocking Katakuri for a bit. This is going up, I think, Tuesday. And so yeah, I think it's Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, I'm not sure. But we'll have a handful. I think the rest of this week is Katakuri games, and then we will be switching to something. There'll be a poll on the community page about what we'll be switching to, because I'm indecisive and I don't know. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, hit that like button down below. It helps me out more than you can ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.